Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you to this special meeting of the Lower Southampton Township Board of Supervisors for August 29th of 2018. Could we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Prior to the meeting, the board held a workshop to discuss the state. It was self-reported to the state by the township. So we have the state coming in. They're going through some things. Also, during the workshop, discussed what else we want to do going forward. And we had a short executive session to discuss some personnel matters. And I believe, Mr. Weldy, you would like to make a motion?
I would. I brought up in the work session that I'd like to make a motion tonight, and here's my motion. I'll preface it by saying after 30 years in law enforcement, coupled with the questions and suspicions that have been raised at the last two meetings over about the past 2 months, at least in my opinion, the top law enforcement agency in Bucks County is the Bucks County District Attorney's Office, headed by Matt Weintraub, a top-notch group of district attorneys, and the premier detectives in the county. No smear, Ted. But that being said, my motion is that the Lower Southampton Board of Supervisors prepares a memo in writing and asks the Bucks County District Attorney's Office to launch an investigation into the past practices of the Lower Southampton Zoning Office from March 2nd, 2018 back, and at the conclusion of the report their findings to us.
All right. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I would actually like to second that one.
Okay. We have a second. Any comment from the public on the motion? Okay. Okay. All right. Well, hearing none, then we have a motion. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So that's pretty much the substance of what this meeting is tonight. We wanted to inform you guys that, we brought the state in. We're going to let them look. We'll keep you abreast as that progresses, and that we discussed what we want to do going further. And as Mr. Weldy said, we decided that we feel it would be in the best interests of the township to let the DA take a look at it as well and cover all the bases. So with that, a motion to adjourn?
No, I don't think so.
Well, there's no, that's what this is for. That's what this was for, to inform the public. There's really no public portion tonight. This was a special meeting to make a motion.
Questions? Why is there a sign-in sheet sitting up there then?
Well, because this is a special meeting. It wasn't.
So
it's not a.
You're
going to put it in the newspaper.
Well, this was a special meeting. So, being a special meeting, I had the workshop to discuss the state and going forward, what we're going to do going forward. That's why I did this meeting. On the 12th, our agenda is full. So we have the bond issue. We have a number of other things on the agenda. So I wanted to get it in tonight. So this was a special meeting so that we could discuss what we wanted to do going further. We decided we wanted to get the DA involved, which is what we did. And at this point, there's really nothing else to discuss other than letting the DA come in and let the state finish.
Feedback from the community and certain.
Well, that's why I asked if anybody had comments on the motion. All right. Well, all right. I'll tell you what. If you'd like to come up and comment, if you want to sign in, you must sign in. And I'll tell you this right now. You got to keep order, all right? I'm not going to, because I'll just adjourn the meeting. All right? I want you to act civilized, and if you can't act civilized, we'll just adjourn the meeting. I don't think that's asking too much. And so you come up one at a time, not multiple times. You come up once. We'll give you 3 minutes because there's a lot of people, so just be civilized. Come up and say what you have to say, and then we can move forward, all right? So if anybody does have a comment, please come up.
I'm already signed in. Marge McCurdy, 431 Clearview Avenue in Trevose. I work in the Chamonix School District, and I live here, and I've paid taxes. And what concerns me is that big, brand-new Tawanka building that we built over there. how do we know that everything is safe over there for the kids and the staff? I mean, that's real concerning if we have somebody here, who is doing what he was supposed to be doing, or hopefully doing what he was supposed to be doing. Were there second checks on this? Is that building safe? And have all the things that were supposed to be paid for, were they paid for?
Well, hopefully the state will determine that, because they're coming in, they'll be looking at that kind of stuff. So I'm sure we'll get a pretty nice report from the state. Anybody else?
Howard Lindner, ex-Nashami teacher, coach, administrator, and involved in politics since I've been 16 years old in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and I'm 83 now. My wife used to be the solicitor of Middletown Township years ago, and I ran the campaign for Fred Gerst when he was a school administrator, and I helped Sue Barrett when she ran for her second term. And my problem, reading the newspaper, and I want to congratulate Kim, one of my former students, and Ray, another one of my former students. Okay, Ray, I was his administrator. His mother used to work for me as an aide. I used to hire the aides at the high school. Kim was one of my students. And Kim, being the shy kid I remember years ago, when I'm reading the paper, I have to say I'm so proud of you. Kim would tell you, because of my connections in politics from this national down to the local, I always had politicians speak to my students from every level, from the national level to the local level, from constables on. And one of the things I wanted them to stress to my students is integrity and honesty. And now, I had a problem reading the newspaper, and even though I'm having some handicap problems right now, I had to come here. I cannot understand how someone can be not certified and check inspections. Where was the township manager? From my experience, the township manager is the one.
Don't make me adjourn the meeting.
Is the one who is supposed to check on all that stuff. I remember my wife when she was the solicitor. Okay, and also the legal person. Okay, I have a problem understanding how someone not qualified for a job getting a job. I had that problem with the food services. I won't mention any names. When someone was hired over a person that had a background, Richie Webb, that's how I got him into politics. I'm the one that talked him into running, and he became a decent school board member. I mean, it was shocking at that time in knowing Richie's background and his business. But this goes on all the time. I was involved in McGreevy's campaign in New Jersey. I was involved in Frank Perrone's U.S. representative campaign in New Jersey. And I know what's supposed to be. And that's why I'm so proud of you. You stood up when no one else was behind you. I hope I taught you that. Okay. And I've been involved with Lower South, with John Wortman's father. That's how long ago. Okay? And I've been involved going to social events for years. I'll go to social events. But there's no excuse for people who are supposed to be doing the job not doing the follow-up and not doing the checkup. And I respect Lower South. I respect every one of you on this board. I know how much time it takes and how much aggravation you have to take. But there's a right and there's a wrong. and you've had a lot of wrongs, and I hope you correct them. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Karen Lowry, Lower Southampton. My question really goes more for the solicitor, is I wanted to know, you as a solicitor, two things. One, when we're all sitting out here, you don't look at the direction at the people, the taxpayers. You always have your head down, you're writing, texting, etc. Where have you been as far as the people that are supposed to be certified doing zoning, permits, whatever? Isn't that part of your job?
The answer is no. I've only been solicitor for the last year when the other solicitor
Went out?
left. And I get involved with when there's contracts, when there's development agreements. We meet with the developers to go over with the engineer and with the zoning officers as to the development of the sites, but we don't issue permits.
No, I know you don't issue
We're never
permits.
called in. We're not involved
You don't
at
check
that
to
sta-
see if they're certified?
We're not involved at that stage.
Well, somebody's in charge here, so.
Well,
And
You know, I'd like
18
to, my name's being brought up, or I'm the manager. The manager is not qualified, according to the state, to check. I'm not a building inspector. I have no certifications. I am not qualified, and the state will back me up on that. I cannot go and check those things because it's, number one, it's not part of my job description, and number two, I am not qualified to issue permits or check what's done on the building. I'm not a building code official.
No, I get that, but you don't check who you hire to see if they're qualified for that position. You didn't check their credentials, if they're certified in certain.
The people involved were hired long before I was even here or on the board.
So when you came in, you didn't think to check anyway?
No, a new manager comes in, he goes through everybody's personnel file. No, I did not do that.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else for a public portion?
Hi there, I'm David DeBillius, 430 Trevose Road, and I'm glad somebody brought up the solicitor here. We've got a development being built right next to me on Shamrock. I've been in the township for a year, been in the military for 23, so I always believe in knowing the job of the person above and below you. So I don't want to mirror what everybody else has said, but that needs to happen here. Because right now, I've been told by the building people, or by the people building these new houses, that I now lost 10 feet of space by 125 feet of space on each side of my house and 30 feet by 150 feet behind me because somebody in the zoning office told them it wasn't my property. When I called the zoning office here when I moved here a year ago, I was told that's not our problem, you have to call the county. What do you think the county's answer was when I called them? Call the township, talk to the zoning office.
if there's a land boundary issue, that's a survey, and that's between you and the other property owner. That's
No, it's not. Not according to the county, it's not. They had their own private surveyor come in, and when I talked to the building manager down there,
who had the surveyor come in?
I can't remember his last name. His first name's Vladimir, if that helps you. He's building all the houses on Shamrock right by the Turnpike overpass. And they told me and informed me they had their own surveyor come in to validate what our township told them. Now, I've gone through the township with the previous zoning officer that was here. I've gone up to the county. Nobody seems to know whose bloody job it is. Now, my question is, and hang tight a second, please, before you interrupt me. My question is, who's going to wind up telling me if my property actually belongs to me or not? I paid a certain amount of money for it. The people buying these houses that are being built paid a certain amount of money. And I've got a contractor telling me that our township said my property isn't mine. So I need to know if I need to file for adverse possession because the gentleman that lived there before me, who's from my guard unit and retired 15 years before I started, owned that property for over 40 years and managed it. So my question is, and I'm not trying to point fingers here, but you got to know the job of the person above and below you, or you can't get the job done right. Whose job is it to tell me whether or not my property even belongs to me? Because I'm getting tired of calling them and having them tell me to call you, and now I can't put this on Bill. Bill's taking double duty here because somebody's not there anymore. If I went into his office right now, I'd be facing a brick wall because Bill hasn't had this problem before. I'm sure the person that vacated didn't tell him that a township resident who just basically got told by a contractor, I don't own my property. And I'm not trying to use the baddest language in the world, but it pisses me off to know that I've lost 10 feet by 125 on two sides and 30 feet by 150 behind me. Along with the fact that that contractor was told about the bald eagle habitat behind us and has just torn it down. And the township was advised about it. So where is the accountability?
Hi, my name is Stacy Snyder, and I live at 1340 Buck Road. And I would like to know, you said that the state is coming in. I'd like to know specifically what agency is coming in.
The Department of Labor and Industry.
Labor and Industry. And how did you contact them, in writing or by phone call? So that
Bill?
we can all get copies of all the documentation.
I was directed by the manager to contact the Department of Labor and Industry. I contacted them by phone, kind of explained the situation. They set up a date to come out to the township building.
When are they coming?
They already been here.
Oh,
Be back.
Right.
they've been here, and they're going to
Thursday.
issue a report?
No. They've came here for, they wanted to come down and understand what was going on, see what the report from Keystone, and kind of get a feel of what's transpiring here. They gave us some direction, okay? They've gave me things to get out for them to review. When I get everything out for them to review, they are coming back here to review things, and they would, after they review things, they would write us a report, and that's what they told us.
Okay, so they are going to issue a report.
Yes.
That will be available to all the taxpayers, so we can know.
I'm sure.
Absolutely.
So, and we can know, and you'll let us know how that the report is available. When will we know about that?
It's up to the state. I mean,
Okay, so we can contact that department also to get the
They
report we
won't.
want.
They will not deal with the. They'll deal with the township, but they won't deal with anybody outside the. You know, it's a state investigation. So, when it's done, we will absolutely make that information public.
Okay, and this board did you contact them or the board did? You made the decision to go?
Mr. McMenamin told Mr. Ottinger to
go in and do it?
self-report it to the state, yes.
Okay,
We don't know how long it'll take them, how many visits it will take them, so they work at their speed. If they want to be here 10 times, they could be here 10 times. We don't know yet.
I understand that. And one other thing, I take issue with you telling the audience or inferring that the people in the audience aren't civil, because
The last meeting was not civil.
well, I watched it, but I don't know about everybody else
Sorry,
in the
Mrs.
audience.
Snyder, it was not civil last time.
Well, I'm sitting here and I am a civil person.
Okay, that's
okay?
great, but
and
I
don't
said-
like to be
I-
lectured when I walk into
I
the
asked
room.
to keep it civil tonight because it was not civil.
Yeah. I have the floor. The thing is that I'm just sitting here coming to hear what's going to go on, and right off the bat, you went after us about it, and that's really not
Oh, I
fair
asked
to the
to keep it
taxpayers of this township. So I
asked
just want you
keep
to
it
know
civil.
that it's
That's
not
fine.
fair.
I understand that. I just asked to keep it civil, that's all. It was, people were coming up and people were in the audience interrupting people that were speaking. If there was a supervisor speaking, people were interrupting. I just asked to keep it civil, that was all.
My name is Connie Bahrain, and I'm a resident in Lower Southampton, and this has become a state issue. We've had the state come in. We have a state representative in our township by the name of Frank Farry. I don't see Frank Farry here tonight, and I'm wondering if he has weighed in on this and communicated with the supervisors on this issue. He has an office right here in Lower Southampton Township, so has he contacted the supervisors? Has he contacted the township manager on what's been happening in our township and that the state is coming in. This is a serious issue when we get the state coming in to evaluate what's going on.
I haven't been contacted.
He did call me and asked me what was going on. I told him we had contacted L&I. He said, good, just keep them informed. That's
Okay.
the end of the conversation.
Okay, and we have a meeting tonight. The meeting was on the website. It was in the Courier Times, and I would assume that he would think that his constituents would be coming out, and he might want to be here to see what they would have to say. I know he's not here, but he is out at doors, door knocking, so I guess that's more important than coming out and listening to his constituents.
Hello, my name is Pat Horan. I live at 819 Sterner Mill Road. My question is to the board and to Mr. McMenamin, who mentioned at the last meeting that he's retiring. So now that his position is open, will it be filled with by someone who has the credentials to actually do the job and not say he has too much to do that he cannot watch over what his employees are doing?
Well, in the interim, Mr. Galdo is going to take...
And what are his qualifications?
Joe, would you like to?
I'm a certified public accountant, executive MBA from Drexel University, and master's in taxation. I have over 27 years of governmental accounting and experience. City of Philadelphia, City of Camden, City of Cheltenham, and I know finance and I know operations.
Okay, and you know how to handle the supervisory role that was not handled properly in the past.
Delegation is part of management, so I will delegate, and my individual directors will handle whatever they need to handle, but I will also be informed.
And you will be overseeing what they're doing, which wasn't done in the past. All right, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mike Morris. I live in Langhorne, and I'm also a taxpayer down here in Lower Southampton. My concerns are more or less the 900 plus or minus children that we have at the Tawanka Middle School that was rushed through. They got $30-some million. You were paid probably about $250,000 for permitting. The permit department and Board of Supervisors came back and tried to get the taxpayers for about another $800,000. Then was retracted from the township. My real concern here is not the contractor that was doing the job. Though I do have some concern, only because I don't know what happened down here. I know what has happened prior, during, and after. You guys have no idea what you're doing. And I have to commend Bill Ottinger and the supervisors that you're trying to straighten this out. I would suggest that you don't look for trying to point a finger, is follow the evidence. This township has a problem here, and it goes way back, and it goes back to politics. And if there's any question in reference to that, we can look at the indictments. And they run deep. Frank Ferry's not here, probably because he's out campaigning. But let's be straight about it. Frank calls a lot of shots here, too. John called them all. And somehow this board kept it going we hired friends and family and stuff like that here. It's the whole thing that if you can get away with it, it's not wrong unless you get caught. And here in this township still, it's still not wrong apparently. You have to clean house. You're risking these children up there going to that school. And I sat on that board for 8 years. And some of the supervisors and other employees here have also sat on the board. I saw how that was pushed through. I saw how fast that shovel got in the ground, from between the politics of this to the money that was spent and the other areas that didn't get the money, and then another $3-4 million in other schools in this specific area because of the control, the political control of the school board. I want to know, every parent that has a student in these schools, every grandmother, grandfather, uncle, aunt, neighbor, should want to know first. I really don't care about that 2-story building down the street. That's private money. That's all our money. Everybody's money here. That's not just Lower Southampton, guys. That's the entire area of Neshaminy, $180-some million. I know, that's nothing. I see 30,000, 30 million going out the door fast, coming right down here because of politics, because of poor math. 1 and 1 doesn't equal 2. Can't follow the population boom and, you know, everything's going. There's a population boom when people are losing property. And I question a lot of the other decisions on a lot of the other developments. And apparently the feds do too. But really, can we get a team together, a lawyer together, and go after that school before there's a class action suit against the township? Save yourself the aggravation. Because I want to know where my $250,000 went. That's all of us. You know, I don't mind my taxes going up for education. But for fraud, embezzlement, laundering, I don't stand for it. I want to know what the contractors got paid for that came out to inspect. Were they certified? And when you have a person and you don't know, and you do know, she was not certified. Right there, out of the gate, you're wrong. And I want to see the taxpayers get the $250,000 of justification out of your wrongdoing.
Just a question, Mr. Mark.
Sure.
Who hired the contractors, though? Was that the school district or for the Tawanka?
The Tawanka school was built by the school district, and the contractor was voted on by the school board. You're right. That's where you're going.
Yeah, I'm curious. I just want to know.
Permits were from where, Mr. Wesley?
Well, they're from here.
Right.
Yeah.
By what? An uncertified L&I zoning person.
Well, that's why we called the state, too.
Right.
So we're going to let the state, you know, hopefully they're going to guide us.
And I will be sure the state understands what I believe happened there.
You know, hopefully they'll go through it.
Yeah. And I'll be sure that the taxpayers get their fair share of a $250,000 in inspections.
I'm not going to tell the state how to do their job. I mean, I'm sure they know exactly what they're looking for and what to do. So, but
if some rep doesn't get involved.
We will make it public, though.
Right. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Anybody else for public comment? Okay, well, we will...
I'll sign in a second. My name is Victor Corsino, 1518 Bustleton Pike. You know, this isn't about being a Democrat or a Republican. This is about what we say at the end of when we all stand up and put our hands over our heart. And we say, with justice for all, to the flag at the end. That's what this is about. I've been fighting to try to get clarity and justice here in this township, one way or another, because we all have smelled something going on wrong for years. But a lot of people were afraid of those that were indicted because they carry guns and they threatened people. And I've seen it with my own eyes. So a lot of people were afraid. That fear is no longer on the streets. And that's why you see this many people show up. And the second reason is we're angry, we're sick and tired. Where does the buck stop? The gentleman over here, the township manager, says, I don't have time to check on other people's numbers or the way they do their job. In the newspaper, it said he made somewhere last year about $140-some thousand. We had some people look into that, and she couldn't even figure out where all that money is coming from. So, number one, how does the township manager get paid? Where is the money coming from? And moving forward, is that going to be clear and concise for whoever may take the job? Number two, are we going to put it out to the public to see if we can get a qualified person and not another Republican favor into that position? That's what we need here. And also, something mentioned in the newspaper about pre-signing what you're going to vote on. It seems to me that the solicitor should have definitely at least known how to handle that, and that that was something that was being done wrong on a consistent basis. Thank you.
Anybody else for public comment? All right. Well, hearing none, motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. All in favor? Aye. Okay. We'll keep your...